Okay, Torah on Va'era, page 112. I'll be 15 lines or so from the end of the page, maybe even more. We're going to start with Asir the Kodesh Baruch Hu Lahanchil. 5, 10, 15, 18 lines. Okay, now the Rebbe is explaining that in order to have this gili of Yud Kevavke, you need the gili first of Elokim. And therefore it's Vayedaber Elokim El Moshe Vayemer Elav Ani Havaya, that you have to be Mamshech Havaya. How did we get that level? Through the office of Ram Yitzchak and Yaakov, because they were Merkava, they were completely bottled. How are they able to get this infinite revelation of godliness in a finite body? So that's why he says, that's what it says, Kel Shin Daled Yud. It's the level of limitation. Through the level of limitation, that's what happens. And that's only through Aveda, like Avraham Avinu was a Halech Nosei Negba, kept trucking. Okay, so now he says like this. Now he's going back to what he spoke about before. That through the Aveda, you end up coming to a level of Shai Elamis, right? He says, like it says, Lahan Choloy Yesh. Where do they learn out? Where does the Mishnah learn out that Hashem is giving everybody Shin Yud Elamis? So it says, Lahan Chil Oyavai Yesh. To give the people love me, or I love them, they love me, both. Meaning tzaddikim, Yesh, the Shin Yud. Sheidei kam tzimtzum, and v'yiridis ishtaushas hamadreges. Through many tzimtzumim and descent. Yom shech sheyizgala chesed elyon. Va'ava elyon is able to come down. This great, another Avodah creates this Gila of Elokus. But in order for this Gila Elokus to come down into the world, it needs a lot of tzimtzumim, because it can't come down in the infinite state as is. But Neshamas lekabel, to enjoy the Shechina. That's what the level of the Shin Daled Yud is. Hashem said to his world, die, meaning Tzimtzum Shaydei Zeh. Through the level of Tzimtzum is Va'eda Avram, I'm able to reveal Avram. Li'ezgili Ava El Yena Shikris. Because even from all the Midas, Ava is the primary. It's the first one. So it includes them, all of them. So the Alter Rebbe says like this: how is it possible that Va'era El Avram Yitzchak V'El Yaakov? How is it possible? It's through the level of Kel Shin Daled Yud. By limiting the Gilui Tzimtzumim, that's what allowed this Gilui of through their Avodah that I can reveal to them this level of Av and Yira, all the great, super great Giluyim through the level of Tzimtzum. That's what it says, you should love Hashem. Pel Yaitz in Hebrew grammar means it's not a commandment, it's an outcome. Through Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, like we learned, the Maggid says, after you will love Hashem. It doesn't say to love Hashem, it says you will love Hashem. It's an outcome. Because the primary goal is meaning that not only you should love Hashem, but Hashem will love you also. Hashem will love you. So it's the avodah of the Jew through Psukkah Zimra, Bechaz Kirishma, all that stuff. Then it becomes the Gilim Milmaila. Hashem says, I love you. And this Ava that Hashem loves us, now he's reversing it. Not v'yahavtas Hashem Elokecha, you should love Hashem, but v'yahavtas Hashem Elokecha means Hashem will love you. And that has to be to bring it down b'chol levavcha, b'teich kol levavcha b'shnei yitzirecha. That even the Yetzer Hara, Yosef Lavas Hashem, should come back to love Hashem. Why? Because when a person through his Aveda brings down this Ava from above, this great revelation from above, Memele libe hamas himes kemedain, like it's going to melt like wax melts. It's going to melt because it has such a great gilui. Even the Yetzer Hara is going to become batul tashem. V'yeliskaf, break evil. V'zanim shebekrishma. Why does this level of ava come down through krishma? Kipsuk dezirma krishma has to be the ava milmata lamaila. Because again, first, in order, like you said the whole time, the Rebbe said, in order to come to this level of ava milmaila, you need to make a keli for it. So what's the keli? Ava mimata. So you have to love Hashem through Pesukei Zimna, the meditation. And then also Berchos Krishman, that's not so much the avoid of love, it's realization that the own source of the Nefesh Habamis, the Malachim, are also screaming Kodesh and Baruch. Then you come to the level of Yohavta, that you will love Hashem, and therefore Hashem will love you. Both ways. Aval b'krishma tzarich liyasam shachar, so aval yin, but that has to come from above. So until Krishma is Aveda Mamata Lamaila. Krishma is the Gilim Lamaila Lamata of Ava. But in order for that level of Ava, at present at least, to come into the gulf, it has to go through a tzimtzum. Because otherwise, a neshama in a body cannot have an infinite understanding of Elokus. Or Chassidus even says, the neshama itself in Gan Eden, no body. But the neshama is also a nivra. The neshama is also mugbal. So how does it get this way of Gan Eden? So that's through Aveda down here, by making a keli, do Torah mitzvah. So then you have a keli for it.
So how does this compare to the model of Avot and Moshe Rabbeinu? Where Shaddai and then Hashem.
He didn't get there yet. Moshe Rabbeinu is Chochma Vatzilas. Chochma needs to understand. The Avis are Midas. Midas don't understand. It's emotions, it's not Seichel. And the contrary, Seichel gets in the way of Midas. Seichel limits Midas. If I love something, Seichel tell me cool it, because you should love yourself more. But that's what we learned. The midas of a behema are far stronger than the midas of a person, because the person's seichel limits the midah. So it has to be that avodah. So therefore, Moshe Rabbeinu asked, and that Alter Rebbe asked at the beginning, Hashem didn't answer the question. He said, Lama Yisrael Mazeh. Hashem said to him, I missed the office. But you didn't answer the question, Lama Yisrael Mazeh. Because who says there's an answer? An answer can only be when you need seichel. If something is not seichel, then it doesn't need an answer. An answer means an explanation of a question. That's seichel. If there's no seichel, there's no answer. There's no question. You know what they say? For a believer, there are no questions. For an atheist, there's no answers. Why for a believer are there no questions? Because in seichel, it's not seichel. A believer believing is not in seichel. So if there's no seichel, what do I mean? I have no questions. Question means I don't understand it. But if you don't need to understand it, what do you need to? There's no questions.
You still have to ask the question, even if there is no answer.
Correct. That's why Hashem left it in the Chumash. The Rabbi explains, the Torah doesn't even speak about Beginus Behemoth Tmeya. The Torah doesn't even speak bad about animals, treif animals. So why in the world does it say bad about Moshe Rabbeinu? And if it's such a terrible question, take it out of the book. Torah is teaching, to guide, right? Yeah, if that question is no good, it's not a good guide for us, so why leave it into Torah? So the answer is because the question is a question, a Torah question. But that's only mitzad the level of seichel. A Jew is not supposed to serve Hashem with seichel. So the question, Lama Ariyasa Lama Zeh, is a question that you ask me Sat Seichel. But why isn't it a question by a Jew? Because a Jew deals with L'mayla Min HaSeichel. So that's the answer to the question. What?
To be brought to question.
Correct. We spoke at the class Monday night. The Gemara says when the 10 martyrs were being killed, yeah, so they didn't know why. I mean, you're talking about these great tzaddikim, tortured to death. So they went up there, Rabbi Shmuel went up there, whatever, however he went up, I don't know. Yeah, he went up, and then he said, what's going on over here? So Hashem said to him, Shteik. Remember, Shteik, kach ola b'machshava, and if you keep talking, I will destroy the world back to Teil V'Veyu. What type of dialogue is that? It's a very strange, seemingly unimpressive dialogue. The Jews are asking a legitimate question, why are these tzaddikim being tortured to death? So Hashem says basically, shtaik, again, we said that. Shtaik doesn't mean please be quiet. Shtaik means shut up. Right? That's the shtaik means it's not a nice, refined way of saying be quiet. Right? It means shut up. A guy asks a simple question, you say shut up? You imagine you ask a question, the guy says shut up? Hashem said to him, you don't understand. The whole purpose of world is to have bittul above seichel. If you're asking questions, the world can't exist. Because the whole purpose of the world is not to ask questions, to have bittul talukus. So why are you asking? It's not that Hashem is rude, God forbid, saying, or cruel. What type of answer is this? The guy's asking an innocent question. Answer nicely. Say you'll get older, you'll understand. Shut up. Because Hashem is telling him, you don't understand, that's exactly what it's all about. And if you think you understand, that itself shows that you don't. And you're fooling yourself, that's worse. Because then you're fooling yourself that you understand when you really don't. If a person will do mitzvahs, even logical mitzvahs, based on chukim, based on logic, it's not Torah mitzvahs. Even the mitzvahs and mishpatim, the first parsha after Matan Torah, imagine, the first parsha right after is Eila Mishpatim, which are logical. The first parsha should be Eila Chukim. Yeah. So what's the answer? So Chassidus explains, because Hashem gave us a brain, He said, I want you to use it, I want you to understand it. Try to understand it. But simultaneously understanding that you don't understand it. And realize that this that you think you understand is only because Hashem allows you to understand it in your seichel. But that's not the reason. I mean, just think about it. The reason a finite person thinks something exists cannot be the real reason for Hashem. Yeah. A parent tells a kid, do well in school. Why? Because you're going to get a good report card and then you're going to get prizes. Yeah? In the kid's mind, why do I have to do well in school? It's not wrong. Yeah? Okay. Now, in the parent's mind, that's not why he wants the kid to do well in school. Right? He wants him to be intelligent, he wants to be disciplined, he wants to, well, whatever it is. So that's even within the realm of a human being. Can you imagine from finite to infinite, or whatever we think we understand is that?
The seichel of the tzaddikim in Brighton, or Gemara.
No.
So they're discussing Torah. So
Because Hashem wants us to understand. But at the same time, they understood that we don't understand. Why is that so difficult to understand? I'm saying we have to understand we don't understand. What's that? Tachlis hayediyah shalom nedo'acha. The ultimate knowledge of godliness is that we realize we don't understand. There is what's called, I know we're going off, yediyah sachiv and yediyah sashlila. There's positive knowing and there's negative knowing. Okay, so this explains like this. You're trying to remember a niggin. Okay? So a guy will sing a niggin. You say, no, that's not it. That's not it. That's also knowledge. You know what it's not. It is a chiyuv. The guy sings the song. That's it. Right? Now, if you're trying to remember a song, and the guy will tell you a pasuk in Chumash, I mean, you don't have to negate it. The fact that you negate something shows you have a connection. There's a connection that you have to negate. Yeah, you're making a simcha. You're going through the invitation list. Who to invite, who not to invite. Yeah? So you say, this person, yeah, this person, no, whatever it is, yeah? But it never enters the mind to say, okay, all the bugs in the other end of the world we're not inviting. I mean, it's not even, it's a stupidity to even think that way. I mean, there's not even, what are you negating it for? The ultimate understanding of Elokus is that whatever we think he is, he's not. Because whatever we think he is a limited, warped, messed up human comprehension. If you look in the long letter the Friedrich Rebbe wrote to the Rebbe Tzimchai Mushka, which was stolen, and they printed it, most of it, and part of it, whatever. It was actually a stolen letter. So he writes over there about the Chassidim that became Chassidim afterwards. They started learning Chassidus. They would remember, how did they fear Hashem before they learned Chassidus? The guy says himself, he tells the story. He pictured that God, Hashem, as a ferocious buffalo, about to rip him apart. That was the Yiras Hashem that they had before they learned Chassidus. He's reminiscing the way they used to think. Now,